Hello, friends. Welcome to Betkraft, your home of show bet football analysis and predictions. Okay, today is Wednesday, 15th, a beautiful Wednesday morning, and we have a whole lot of games going on across the globe. And we have made our in-depth analysis on a selected few and brought it forward for you. Amongst the games that we have for you today, we had the likes of Brighton coming up against Chelsea, and also Manchester United who will be up against Newcastle. And we have also Olympic Marseille game, and as well Atlanta versus Juventus in Italian Coppa Italian match. So we do have some of these great games that we predicted, and you know in a short while we'll be looking at how all these games will come out, and also be making our predictions on these games in a moment. All right, for those of us who be coming across our video for the first time, kindly take our time to click the subscription button now there, so that you do not miss out on our subsequent football games that we're predicting on a daily basis in this channel. All right, that being said, all right, let's look at how we fared yesterday. Yesterday we had 7 games, and we were able to achieve 4 victories out of those 7 games. It wasn't our best day though, but because we are looking at perfection, and having all our predictions, coming out right just the way we predicted them. Hopefully today is going to be, a better day, and in a moment, let's take a look at these games, and starting with the very first game. And we have the very first game is in Premier League, where we have Brighton and Hove who will be coming up against Chelsea. Okay, and you see that Brighton and Hove in the last season have been able to achieve just 1 win, and have had 4 losses as well as 1 draw in the past 6 games of head. And Chelsea, their way side, have been able to, achieve 3 wins as well as 3 losses in the past 6 games. And also taking a look at how both sides fared from home and away perspective, we could all see that playing from home, Brighton and Hove have been able to achieve 6 wins in the last 10 home games. They've also had 2 losses as well as 2 draws in the last 10 home games they've had so far. We saw them defeating Aston Villa last weekend by 1 goal to 0, and their away side, Chelsea, have been able to achieve 3 wins in the past 10 away games. They've also had 3 losses and also 4 draws playing from away. Okay, and we saw them, scraping a win yesterday, scraping a win against Nottingham Forest actually in the weekend. And at home, Chelsea has been doing very well. They've been able to win their last, they've been able to win 7 out of the past 8 home games. Chelsea, but from away they've not been able to produce such form. But they've only had 3 wins, and the last win against Nottingham Forest was a scrappy win. We saw them winning that game at the dying minute of that very encounter. So in this very encounter, we expect that Brighton and Hove is going to be very, very, a very tough opponent for Chelsea. And seeing that they've been doing very well, they've been able to they were able to defeat the Aston Villa and the likes. They're doing very well at home. And the last time both teams met, saw Chelsea winning by 3 goals to 0, 3 goals to 2. So we see that this very tie produces a lot of goals. So we expect to see a lot of goals in this very encounter. Also noting the fact that Chelsea has been scoring even from away. They've been scoring a lot of goals, and the last 10 away games for Chelsea have always produced over 3.5 goals. 8 of the last 10 have actually produced over 3.5 goals. So we expect to see at least 3 goals in this very encounter. It is over 2.5. That's our verdict for this very game. And that takes us to the next one. Also in English Premiership, where we have Manchester United, who will be welcoming Newcastle United. Manchester United in the past 6 games have been able to achieve 2 wins, 3 losses as well as 1 draw. And their way side, Newcastle United, have seen 4 wins as well as 2 losses in the past 6 games they've had. And when you take it down to how both sides fared from home and away perspective, you could as well see that the home side, Manchester United, in the past 10 home games have been able to achieve 4 wins. They've also had 4 draws as well, and they've actually achieved they've had 2 losses too in the past 10 home games they've had so far. They're not doing very well, to tell you the truth. And the away side, Newcastle United, actually have seen 6 wins from away, and they've had 4 losses playing from away. Goes to show that the better side comparing the two. But in this very encounter, we know that Newcastle United is actually vying for opportunity to actually qualify for conference of Europa. And also Manchester United is also looking for to qualify for Conference League. So it is two teams who are battling for European position. So it's going to be a very intense game, and we expect to see a lot of actions in this very one. So actions, generates corner. So in this very game, so we're going to look at it differently, and we expect to see corner in this very game. A lot of corners, and we're going to see over 9.5 corner in this very encounter. So at least 10 corners in this very game. That's our verdict, and that will take us to the very next game, and that is in French League One, where we have Olympique Marseille. Reims, who will be coming up against Olympique Marseille. Okay, Reims in the past season have been able to achieve just 2 draws, and have had 4 losses on their way side. Olympique Marseille have been able to win 2 out of the past 6, and have had 1 draw as well as 3 losses in the past 6 games of here so far. And taking it down to how both sides fared from one away perspective, you could see that the home side in the past 10 home games have been able to achieve 3 wins. They've also had 3 draws and also 4 losses in the past 10 home games they've had. Okay, and the away side, Olympique Marseille have not been doing very well from away, and they've been able to win just 1 game from away. They've had 1 draw, and have lost a whopping 7 games from away, Olympique Marseille. But in this very encounter, we know that Olympique Marseille also will trying their best to achieve a European position next season, seeing that also Reims, on the other hand, have nothing to lose in this very encounter. They really have nothing to lose. Whether they win or lose have no impact on their position. So we expect to see Marcel side that is that will step up to the occasion in this very one. A victory for the away side is expected. Away win, that's our verdict. And the next game that we have for you is in Czech Republic, where we have Slavia Prague coming up against Victoria Plzeň. Slavia Prague in the past 6 games have been able to achieve 3 wins. They've also had 2 losses and 1 draw. And away side, Victoria Plzeň have been able to win 5 out of the 6 games they've had, but they also had 1 draw in the past 6 games. And bring it down to how both sides fared from home and away, you can also see that the home side, Slavia Prague, have been able to achieve 8 victories out of the past 10 home games. They've also had 1 draw as well as 1 loss in the past 10 home games they've had. And Victoria Plzeň, on the other hand, have been able to achieve 7 wins from away, and they've also had 3 draws. They've not lost any match, playing from away. So it goes to show that these 2 teams are very big teams. They're playing very well in the Czech league, and they're doing a lot of exploit. And also, we take a look at the last time both teams met. Victoria Plzeň, defeated the side by 1-0. And also, the game prior to that very last meeting also saw Victoria Plzeň defeating the side by 2-1. So, also taking a look at the recent encounters for both sides, we see that Slavia Prague playing from home have always scored a lot of goals. Seeing that the last game they played from home against Baník Ostrava, they scored that in that match. They played out a 5-0 victory for the home side for Slavia Prague. So in this very encounter, we expect to see a lot of goals, coming up in this very game. So in this very encounter, we expect an over 2.5. Okay, seeing that the last time the head-to-head meeting for both sides have produced over 2.5 on 6 occasions out of 10. So we expect to see 3 goals minimum in this very game. And the next game we have for you is in Croatia, not in Czech. It's actually in Croatia, where we have a Croatian Cup game, where we have a Dynamo Zagreb who will be up against Rijeka. Zagreb in the past 6 have won all 6 games. They've also had they've not had any draw. They've won all the 6 games in the past, and they've also Rijeka, on the other hand, have been able to win 3 games, and they've had lost also 3 games in the past 6 games. And also taking a look at how both sides fared from home and away, you could see that the home side Zagreb have been able to achieve 9 victories out of 10, and they've had just 1 draw. And the away side Rijeka have had 7 wins out of 10, and they've also had 3 losses playing from away. Okay. And when you take a look at how both sides fare from head to head, you can see that Dynamo Zagreb have been very dominant side in this tie. Seeing that they won the last 2 occasions of this meeting. We saw Dynamo Zagreb winning the Rijeka from away by 2-1, and prior to that also Dynamo Zagreb winning also by 1-0. So we expect to see a win for the home side Dynamo Zagreb. They're doing very well. They've not lost any match, and they're expected to actually, win this cup tie. Okay, it is home win. That's a very, that very encounter, and that takes us to the next game. And the next game that we have for you is in Italy, where we have it's Italian Cup match where we have Atalanta, who will be up against the Juventus. Atalanta, we know they are in fine form at the moment. They've been able to win 5 games in the past 6 games. They've also had one loss, and the away side Juventus have had just 2 draws, and they've lost 4 games in the past 6 games they've had so far. And when you bring it down to how both sides fared from one away perspective, you could see that Atlanta, playing from home, have achieved you know they've achieved the 7 wins playing from home. They've also had 2 losses. One was against Liverpool, and the other against Bologna, and they've also had 1 draw, which happened against Hellas Verona. So they've been doing very well at home. They've been scoring a lot of goals, and their away side Juventus, on the other hand, have been able to manage just 2 wins from away. They've also had 4 draws from away, and also 4 losses from away. It goes to show that they're not doing very well, especially when they're playing from away. So in this very encounter, we know that Atlanta is doing so well, and the last time both teams met, the head-to-head encounters in the past 5 head-to-head encounters saw these two teams playing out draw on 4 occasions, and then Juventus winning on 1 occasion. So in this very game, knowing that Atlanta is actually in a very fine form at the moment, we expect to see the home side Atlanta either winning or draw in this very encounter. So home win or draw, that's our verdict for that very encounter. And that takes us to the very next game. And the next game that we have for you is in Ukraine, where we have Voskla coming up against Shakhtar Donetsk, okay, in Ukrainian Cup game. And Voskla have been able to achieve just 1 draw in the past 6. They've also lost out on 5 games, and the away side Shakhtar Donetsk have won the entire 6 games they've played so far. And when you take it down to how both sides fare from home and away perspective, you can also see that the home side, Voskla, have been able to achieve just 5 wins in the past 10 home games. They've also had 1 draw, and have had 4 losses. Worthy of mention is the fact that the last 4 home games for the home side have seen them losing all 4 games. All right, they've lost the entire 4 games they've played so far. They lost to Dynamo Kyiv, Shakhtar Donetsk, Kolos, Kobaliska, and also Menaj. And the away side, Shakhtar Donetsk, in the past 10 away games have been able to win 6. They've also had 2 draws as well as 2 losses in the past 10 away games, and those 2 losses come out against Olympic Marseille and Porto in the European Cup match. So it is the away side who is much more fancy to pick up the score, since that they've been able to win their last past 5 away games. They've been doing very well. They're scoring a lot of goals. So we expect Shakhtar Donetsk, who are doing very well and who are also dominant in the head-to-head proceeding for both sides. We expect Shakhtar Donetsk to win this game outrightly. Away win. That's our verdict for that very encounter. Okay. And that takes us to the very next game. And the next game is in Denmark, where we have Brøndby, who will be up against the Nordsjælland. Okay, Brøndby in the past 6 have been able to win just 1 game. They've had 2 draws as well as 3 losses. And their away side, Nordsjælland, have been able to achieve 4 victories out of 6. They've also had 2 losses. And when you take a look at how both sides fare from home and away perspective, you can see that the home side in the past 10 home games have been able to achieve 4 wins as well as 3 draws, and also 3 losses in the past 10 home games I've had so far. And the away side, Nordsjælland, are doing fairly well, seeing that they've been able to achieve 6 wins from away. They've also had 4 losses playing from away. All right, it goes to show that they're doing fantastic. They're doing very well. And the last time both teams met saw both sides playing out a draw, 1-1 draw. That was last month, 28th of April 2024. So in this very encounter, when you take a look at the situation, we'll say that in this very game, it is either side that's expected to rise to the occasion. The win can come from either side, seeing that both teams are, that they are very good teams. They could win. They have the capacity to win any match. So we expect to see 2 of either side to win in this very game, and that brings our predictions on Betkraft for you to a conclusion. Okay, remember that you could choose from any of these games. You could choose about 4 games from all these games that are predicted and make your bet. All right, do not put everything. Okay, you can remember to also play responsibly. Play with what you can afford to lose, and It's only a football game. It can go either way. All right. That being said, I wish you the best of luck. And tomorrow is another big day, and we're going to be here with our predictions. But until then, keep winning.